Well, let's go live to the Pentagon now, and joining us is Brigadier General Patrick Ryder. Pat, good to see you. Thanks for your time this morning on a busy day, no doubt. There's just a couple of reports, courtesy of the Wall Street Journal, that I'd like your thoughts on, first of all. First one being that Israel has paused its ground invasion so that the US can rush in air defence systems to the region to protect American military bases throughout the Middle East. Is this report correct?
Yeah, so we've seen that press report. And what I would tell you is that we're going to allow the Israelis to talk about their operations, their timelines. We're certainly not directing any of that. Our focus has really been on communicating with our Israeli counterparts to best understand what their defense needs are in order to protect their people from terrorist attacks. And then the other aspect of what we've been focused on is twofold. One, deterring a potential escalation of this conflict into a broader regional war. And then importantly, protecting our forces that are already in the Middle East, supporting important missions like the Defeat ISIS mission in Iraq and in Syria.
So just to confirm, you are sending assets into the Middle East to protect your bases because they have been targeted in recent weeks, but you say you're not directing Israel to specifically stop its invasion because of that.
Yeah, what I'm saying is we're going to allow Israel to talk about its timelines, its operations. We're not directing them to do anything, correct? I mean, it's their military. They've got an important fight ahead of them in terms of protecting their people. It's also important to point out that we already have a significant amount of capability in the Middle East region to protect our forces. But as we said over the weekend in our statement from Secretary Austin, we are concerned about the potential for increased escalation as tensions in the region continue to rise. And as we see things like these attacks from Iranian-backed militia groups that are attempting to disrupt regional stability in places like Iraq and Syria.
Gotcha. So Benjamin Netanyahu, he maintained this morning that a ground war is an inevitability. Have you got a timeline that you're working on there? Any reason to doubt him?
Well, again, that's something that's best left to the Israelis to address. You know, if you take a step back here and look to how we got here, on October 7th, Hamas waged a horrific terrorist attack against the people of Israel, 1,400 people killed, 200 people being held hostage. And so the United States rushed quickly to assist Israel in terms of finding out what it is that we can do to help as it relates to security assistance, providing planning and intelligence assistance in terms of hostage recovery. And so that continues to be our focus. And as we have those conversations, you know, we're talking through important aspects like the importance of taking civilian safety into account. No one wants to see innocent Palestinians or Israelis killed in this conflict. So that continues to be the nature of those conversations.
Just on another Wall Street Journal report this morning, it's claiming that up to 500 Hamas fighters received special combat training in Iran. Do you believe that to be true?
Well, we do know that Iran has a relationship with Hamas, obviously. They do provide training. They do provide funding and resourcing. When we look back on that October 7 attack, what we have not seen so far is any prior initial knowledge that that attack was going to take place. And so that continues to be something that we look closely at. But it's no surprise to anyone that Hamas and Iran have a relationship. And that in that way, Iran certainly is you know, part of the challenge here when it comes to groups like Hamas and the terrorism that they foment around the world.
Patrick, are you expecting any more positive news when it comes to the release of any more hostages?
Well, I certainly don't have anything to provide from here. You know, we've seen a few hostages released. I know from a United States standpoint, this continues to be a priority in terms of doing what we can to help facilitate that process. As I mentioned, we've offered planning and intelligence support to the Israelis as they conduct their efforts to try to gain the release of hostages. But certainly, you know, we'll continue to stay optimistic in the days ahead.
Okay. And just finally here, Patrick, I mean, you are concerned about a spillover, as our nation is as well. Is there any particular country outside of Israel that you are most concerned about that could be, you know, the hotter place?
Well, look, no one wants to see a wider regional war. Right now, it's our view that this conflict is contained between Israel and Hamas, and we want to keep it that way, which is a big reason why we've sent these additional assets into the region to send a very clear deterrence message that no actor, whether it be a state actor or a non-state actor, should try to exploit this situation and take advantage of it to escalate the crisis. Okay. So we're going to continue to stay focused on that. We're going to continue to stay in close consultation with our partners in the region, to include Israel. And we're also going to continue to protect our troops no matter where they're serving.
Okay, a busy time, no doubt, but thanks for some of your time, Patrick Ryder from the Pentagon. We'll talk to you again soon.